Hello guys, this is Kitty M and I'm going to show you today how I record my covers, whether it be Vocaloid covers or anime covers or just regular covers altogether. Um, so first, the program that I use. I use Audacity. A lot of people use Audacity. A lot of Youtaites use it. Some Youtaites sometimes move on to better programs, but if you want a nice, easy, free program, Audacity is the best. Um, it's really easy to find. Just Google Audacity and it'll come right up. Um, I think I first got Audacity when I was 10 and I was able to use it relatively well at that age. So, um, I'm 18 now, so that shows you can use it. There are extensions to get if you want them for Audacity, and they're usually free. I know that there's an auto tune one. I don't use it. I can't tell you how well it works. I don't have it at all. But there is an extension that allows you to export your finished tracks as MP3 files, and you want that because if you don't, you're going to have to export them as WAV files, and they'll take up more space, and people won't necessarily want to download WAV files. They take longer, and they're just not as convenient as an MP3. So I'm going to open up Audacity, and this is the program. You got your simple pause, play, stop, skip to start, skip to end, and your record button. So first you want to select your microphone, and I have mine, the Samson, and I have it set to record as a stereo track. I prefer stereo track. You can go mono. I wouldn't recommend it because it does limit what you're able to do while editing your vocals. And then I just use my regular sound for my playback. So what you're gonna do is first I'm gonna talk about microphones because a lot of people don't know what should I get for my first microphone and all that. I don't really think your microphone's a huge deal as long as you're able to work with it. That being said, more expensive microphones sound better than cheap ones. That's just a matter of fact. But I got mine for $75 at a pawn shop. So if you live near a pawn shop and you can check often and see if they get a high quality microphone for a price that you want, you should do that. I was using a blue snowball and it worked fine. It did what I wanted it to, all that. I just dropped it and it stopped working the way that I needed it to, and I wanted to upgrade to something a little better. That being said, the blue snowball was $120 when I bought it. That's Canadian, by the way, so I don't know what it is in the States and all that. And now I'm using a C01U USB studio compressor. It's also known as a Samson, blah, blah, blah. Again, got it at a pawn shop for $75, which is a good deal. And it was such a good deal that I bought a mic stand, which was $100 and something, and a pop filter, which was $25. If you can skip the mic stand, go right ahead. If you can buy a cheaper mic stand, do it. You don't want to be holding your microphone while you record. You want a pop filter if you can get one. A pop filter, even though it doesn't seem necessary, helps a lot. Right now I'm recording with a pop filter and you're not hearing those intense pus sounds. So if I got rid of my pop filter, it'll sound like this. And it doesn't really sound good. Like, my potato went to the store and I bought a bag of potatoes to replace it. You're going to notice a lot of puh sounds, and you don't want that. You don't want those intense noises or those clickings. That's with the pop filter. That's with that. The way I set up my microphone is I put my hand in front of my microphone, place the pop filter one hand width away, and I record one hand width away from the pop filter. You don't want to be too close because you'll cause clipping, and then you're going to have to re-record your whole thing, and I'll talk about that later. The headphones that I'm using are Skull Candy Aviator headphones. They're noise canceling. I can't really hear anything that's going on around me, and I know that the noise that I'm hearing is not leaking out of my headphones. If it leaks out of my headphones when I'm recording, I'm going to have to re-record it, because you don't want to be able to hear your off vocal track in your recording track. I say don't use earbuds, but that's just me. If they fall out during the recording, you're going to have to redo it. They tend to leak noise. You're going to be able to hear it in your recording, and that's just no good. I recommend over-the-ear headphones, but that's just me. If you can find earbuds that don't leak noise, that's good if you like those. Oh, and back to microphones. I have friends who use the Blue Yeti, and they say that's great. So if you can have one of those, great. So while you're recording, make sure that there is space between you and your microphone, like I said before. If you're too close, your recording's going to be too loud, and there's going to be clipping. And clipping's pretty much when your audio tears, and it just peaks your audio. And it'll be too loud, and you won't be able to fix it if you record like that. You want your recording to be somewhat quieter than necessary. Make sure that there is no background noise. So if you're clicking on things or clicking a mouse and you can hear that in your recording, you're going to have to redo it if you do that while you're singing. So if I'm talking and I'm clicking, I'd redo that. Make sure that there's no people talking. If you have people in your house that talk and are loud and you know that you can hear them on your microphone, you're going to have to get them to stop talking, or you're going to have to wait for them to go to sleep or leave the house. If you record by a heater like me, you're going to have to wait for that heater to turn off before you record. If you're hearing a buzz, you can't record. It won't sound good. You can, and by all means, if you have to record while that's on, you can, but it won't sound as clean as it should be. If there are lots of cars going by, you probably will have to deal with that on your own. You're either going to have to force your way through it and record with them in the background, but I know sometimes the road out here gets really busy and I just don't record that day. And animals. If you have animals that bark, you're going to have to wait for them to stop barking. If you have cats that meow, you're going to have to wait for them to stop meowing. Or at least put them in a room that's far enough away that when they do that, you can't hear them. Okay, so now on to recording. Just grab your off vocal. I have all my off vocals in a separate folder. What will I use? I'll use Lie from Circus P. Yeah, it's a good song. And as you can see, there are these little red lines. To be able to see those little red lines, you have to click View and Show Clipping. Make sure that it's checked. If it's not, you're not going to be able to see them, and then you won't know when there's clipping. It's honestly one of the best things I ever learned. Now, this doesn't have a lot of clipping, so I could just leave it, but just for the sake of the tutorial, I'm going to select my whole audio track, go to Effects, Amplify, and then it'll show me how much I need to decrease the volume so there's no clipping. So I just hit OK. It wants me to go down by 0.3. I do that. There's no more red lines. Then it's just on to recording. So I usually keep my lyrics up when I record, just because I know that I won't remember the words. And you can record while you're not on the Audacity screen, which is great. So I'll just record. you might have noticed, I made a lot of mistakes, but that's okay because I can cut those mistakes out and fix them. Honestly, I know this song, but I don't know it well enough to know exactly when I'm supposed to come in. So, first, I want to clean up all the mistakes and all the dead air. And by dead air, I mean, if I mute this and play this, you can see that there's still noise here. And I don't want noise here because I'm not supposed to be making any noise. All you want in this layer, or track, is your voice. So what you do to clean up, you select where you know there's no singing, go up here, and silence the audio. And to select, you just click and drag with this tool, your selection tool. So I do that to all the areas where I know I'm not singing. And I know that I messed up this part, so I'm going to just delete that entire area. And I messed up somewhere in here, but I'm not going to really mess with that right now. So to make sure that everything's the right volume, or a volume where I can hear it with the audio track above it playing, you go to Effect after you select your whole layer. Effect, Amplify, and it'll put it the loudest it can without clipping. Then what I usually do is go to Compressor, OK, adds a dynamic range compressor. It does sometimes add clipping, but we can fix that. So your thing's still completely selected, Effect, and then I do a reverb. And reverb is like when you sing in the bathroom, there's that little bit of echo, and people always say you sound best in the bathroom. I usually don't mess around with these. Sometimes I make the reverb a little less, but I'm going to show you what it sounds like without the reverb first. Why can't it be perfect? Love was not even real. And I messed up there, but for the sake of the tutorial, I'm not gonna really care. Effect, reverb, okay. They have a bunch of presets that you can use to add different amounts of reverb. So I do that and wait for it to finish. And it all depends on your computer and how long your track is, how long it takes. And it also makes your track a little bit quieter. So if you had a little bit of clipping, it's not there anymore. Why can't it be perfect? Love was not even real. So it adds that little bit of echo. So reverb, I use it usually to hide the imperfections in my voice. And I know that sounds like cheating, but honestly, when you sing in a choir room or like a cathedral, there's a bunch of reverb. So I just see it like that. Why can't it be perfect? Love was not even real. Why don't I cry for you? And I can hear it. That's pretty much all the effects I use. Sometimes I add an echo. To add echo, you just select what you want to have echo, effect, echo, and it'll say delay time 1 second. Don't do 1 second because it'll just be like echo, echo, echo. I usually do 0.05 seconds and then leave the decay factor at 5. I'm not going to do it though because it takes a very long time to add the echo, and if it doesn't sound good, you're pretty much wasting your time. You're just going to have to undo it. To undo it, you just hit your little undo button. So now for getting your stuff on time, because even if it sounds on time to you, after you just record it, you're not going to be on time, because our ears make us record things not on time. We sing things a little bit after we hear them, even though it sounds like we're singing on time. So I just move mine forward a little bit and then check. Why can't it be perfect? Love was not even real. And And I think I might have moved it a little bit too forward, so I'm just going to move it back a little bit. Why can't it be perfect? Love was not even real. So I think that sounds better. This is where your headphones really make a difference, because if you have cheap, like, not good headphones, you won't be able to hear those little differences. To fix mistakes, it's pretty much just get rid of the mistake by using your silencer tool and re-recording them. So, like with this first. Why can't it be perfect? Love was not even real. So, I'm gonna re-record that whole travesty of that love was not real. Silencer. Now the track just starts. Why don't I? With Why Don't I Cry For You. So you just re-record. So now we have this, and I'm gonna have to sync it up again, move it forward a little bit probably. Let's see. Why can't it be perfect? This love's not even real. It's a little too far ahead, so I'm gonna zoom in, move it back a little bit. Why can't it be perfect? Still too far ahead. It's all about trial. Why can't it be perfect? This love's not even real. Why don't I? I'm gonna say that's good enough for the tutorial, but if you really want to check, you can move this up and check it against the waves and all that. And then you just redo all your stuff. I'm gonna add my amplify. It's gonna make it loud enough. Effect. Compressor. Effect. Reverb. Now, my reverb didn't get rid of my little bit here, and I know what caused that, so I'm gonna use a hard limiter. I recommend using a hard limiter on everything. A hard limiter saves your life. Saves your life. I set mine to 1 or 2. Sometimes I put it a little less, like at 0.5, but that's only if I know that most of my stuff is higher than 0.5. So I apply it, and it just cuts everything off that's too loud. It's hard to explain, but it just cut off those little peaks there. So now, why can't it be perfect? This love's not even real. Why? And I gotta clean up this audio still, because there's some clicks here. You can only click when you're not singing. Do not click while you're singing, because then you're gonna have to redo it. I sometimes get rid of the breaths at the beginning of things, but you don't have to. I just do it because, I don't know, I like to give myself more work. And then you can just fix everything else. So you don't overwhelm yourself with tracks, what I do is once I have 2 tracks that are perfectly synced and everything, I know that I'm not gonna mess with them anymore. I select the 2 tracks that I want into 1 tracks, mix and render, and it just mixes them all into 1 track. You never want your vocal track and your off vocal track to be in one until the very end. You don't want any clipping, and we don't see any right here. There's no red lines. But if I mix and render these tracks with my off vocal, there's a lot a lot of clipping. So what I do is I select the whole track, effect, amplify, and it tells me it needs to go down by 4.7. So what I do is I undo the mix and render, select everything, and I mean everything. We're gonna select it all. The top track and the bottom track, effect, amplify, and I want me to go down by 4.7, but I'm gonna go down by 5.5. Because if you're on that threshold, it can still sound a little bit like there's clipping. But if you go down a little bit more, then you're pretty much golden. Why can't it be perfect? Like all the way to the red. And then when you're done all your mixing and it sounds good to you, you just file, and when you get that extension to be able to export MP3s, hit export, and then you name it. Like, I'd name this Fly Kitty M Dub. And then I'd save that. I'm not going to save it right now because I'm going to finish this up, so I'll be able to show you what it sounds like when everything's done. But thanks for watching. If you have any questions, just send me a comment or a message. You can message me on Tumblr too. My Tumblr's down there and I can try and help you. But yeah, if you want to know how I do anything else, just ask me. I'm not gonna bite your head off or anything. And if I have the answer, I'll do my best. I'll do my best to help you. So thanks. This has been Kitty M, and I hope that this really helped you.